I just want to read all the time right now, which is probably just
Yeah.
always true. But
Mhm.
I started a book that I really, really, really loved 2 days ago, or really, really loved, called "We Don't Talk About Carol," and it's
Oh
so
yeah.
good. Like I'm like
I
hooked.
I'm dying to read it.
It's
Everyone
really
on
good.
my Instagram feed is getting their NetGalley copies of it, and I'm like,
Yes,
where's mine?
I know. I know. So yeah, more than usual. I had like a couple in a row that were like 3.5s, which is not bad, but I can
Yeah.
like tell this one's a 5, and so I'm just like looking at my phone all day like, can I open my Kindle app?
Yeah, I
um,
had almost an entire month of 3.5 and 4-star books, and
yeah.
I spend a lot of time curating what I'm going to read, so
Yeah.
I rarely get a dud. I can usually
Right.
tell if I'm gonna like it, it's gonna be in my my realm of liking.
Yes.
And so I just got yesterday the new Mary Kubica book.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I have a feeling that's gonna really like break me out of the 3.5, 4-star.
Yeah, I bet it will.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
pretty amazing.
she
I'm gonna
is.
go. She is in conversation with Julie Clark for Julie Clark's The Ghostwriter in
So
Chicago.
good.
So I'm going to see them
Uh,
on like June 17th. So I'm
I'm so
excited.
excited for you. I'm
Yeah.
seeing Julie with Jordy uh,
Ooh.
at Diesel Bookstore in Brentwood in
That
June
would be
as well. Like
so cool.
Diesel's killing it next month. They have Lisa Jewell, they have Julie Clark, and someone else I'm going to see. So
That
I'm
is so
very
cool.
excited about that. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't get like we get almost no one in Indiana. So all of the events I've gone to, I just kind of started going to them. But like I went to Wisconsin in February because Steph was up there, and then Lane Fargo was there. Um, and then I went to like a suburb of Chicago for Ashley Winstead in April. So like,
I
but
saw that.
like those two basically aren't didn't come to Indiana. Lisa Jewell is going to be actually in the city I was just telling you about. Lisa Jewell of all
Oh
people is coming
wow.
to a library in Indiana, and I was like, what?
In Carmel.
Yes.
I
So I'm gonna
love
go to
that.
that. I can't remember. I think it's July. I think that's what her
Yeah.
release is. But like when
Yeah,
she
it is.
announced it, I like immediately got tickets. I was like, nobody comes here, but Lisa Jewell will.
Listen, if you're gonna get someone, Lisa's a great
Yeah.
one.
I know. I love her so much. Well, I should probably introduce you. I'm here this week with Brian Watson, and he is reading with Brian on Bookstagram. Are you on TikTok?
I'm very little.
Yeah.
I was on TikTok and I left TikTok about a year and a half ago to come to
Okay.
Instagram.
Yeah.
TikTok's a little much for me.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
I have not kicked my habit. I definitely
Oh, I
post
still doom
more.
scroll on it, don't get me wrong,
Yes.
but
Okay. We're
I
kind of in the same spot. Like
yes, yes.
it's
People just feel entitled to literally say anything they want to you on TikTok. And
yeah.
I'm not an easily shocked person, but sometimes I'm like, are you okay? Like,
Right.
what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's like you do have to just kind of make slightly different content, and then I've just had better luck connecting with people on Bookstagram. So that's kind of where like I
yeah,
doom scroll, but I don't really post there. So but you guys can follow him on Instagram, is what we've
yeah.
definitely learned at this point. You told me your cat's name before we were recording, and I feel like everyone needs to know about your cat's name.
I have a Siamese cat named Agatha Christie.
I love it.
She's pretty awesome.
That's amazing. I think Audrey Egner and I kept talking about Agatha Christie because it made me think of her when you said that. But that I don't think there's a better name a thriller reader could have for a pet.
I agree.
Yeah. So I always when people are when it's kind of like their first time on, I always want to know like did you read or have you read? Like was it something like your whole life long? Did you kind of discover it in adulthood? What has reading been like for you?
Well, I grew up in Southeast Georgia to a very blue collar family,
Yeah.
so we didn't have a lot of paid extracurricular activities. So I spent a lot of time in the library.
Nice.
Also, growing up as a gay man in in the South during the time I grew up,
Right.
the library was like a safe place for me, and
Mhm.
academia was a place that I felt a bit protected.
That's so
And
cool.
so I spent a lot of my time in the library, and I used to read like a crazy man. Plus, they were handing out, personal pan pizzas, and it was
Yes.
just really my love language. And then as an adult, I kind of, discovered life and friends and partying and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't read for a long time unless it was a book that like three people were like, "Here, you have to read this book," and I would read
Right.
it. And I think for so long, I wasn't reading the kind of books that I really love. I would always try to
Mm.
find shoehorn myself into reading these great lit fic books, that I kept
Yeah.
hearing everyone talk about, and like, it's the best and it's the greatest. And I would literally be like, 14 books on the side of my bed with, 1/8 of it, read.
Yeah.
And so years went by. And then during this last election, I decided, so that would have been probably what, 2023 that started. I
Mhm.
decided I'm getting off of any sort of social media that involves politics. I'm not watching the news anymore. I'm not being caught up in this like this bubble, this cycle. So I set a goal to read like 20 books in a year, which sounded like so much.
Yeah.
So I read those in like a month. So
Uh-huh.
then I kept resetting the goal. I'm a very goal oriented person.
Yeah.
And last year I read like 200 books. I started out, like I said, in TikTok. Then I really found this Bookstagram community that I love,
Mhm.
and really got into reading thriller, suspense, and it was like a fish to water. Like I won't say I have an addiction, but if I don't read, it kind of puts me in a bad mood.
Me too. It
Yeah,
just like calms my brain down is the way that I try to explain it to my husband where when we've just had a lot of work and like I just don't get as much time to read and then I finally do again, I'm like I feel like a nicer person inside my brain right now.
yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah, and
love it.
I love it so much, and it has given me such an escape from uh, other like personal things going on in my life. I'm kind of in the season of grief in my life right now, and it's been the cure all for so many things for me.
I love that. I feel like I get all excited about like the power of story like often because I think it's cool the way can like capture your attention kind of like you're saying even if you're like going through something difficult. um I also kind of because sometimes I feel like I obviously watch TV and movies too, but because you have to like literally like read and then like create the image in your head, sometimes I think it can feel more immersive. And so like sometimes if I am more anxious, it's like reading just like takes so much of my mind that it really
Yeah.
like helps me not go that direction.
Hmm.
um and then I just also love how you can like live so many lives through like other
Yeah.
people's stories too. Like that part's really cool. Ah, there's Agatha. Oh, she is so
Agatha says hi.
cute.
Is she beautiful?
She is. She has pretty eyes too.
She's the most beautiful cat ever.
Ah. I love it. Steph's cat sometimes just like walks right across her keyboard when we're
Well,
recording.
I was trying to train her to walk across the back of the bookshelf here. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
yeah, get the assignment down, Agatha. Come on.
Right? Yeah, so for people who aren't watching, he has two full bookcases behind him. And you mentioned that those are all ones that you just want to read eventually. But
Yeah, and that's you can't see, but this entire room is filled with those.
oh
So I
wow.
have one, two, three, four, five, six bookcases
Wow.
that are full of books that I have not read. Well,
I,
that's not true. There's one half of one bookshelf are signed copies and books that I that are
mm,
personalized or special editions, that kind of stuff.
right.
Um, yeah, but I was sharing with you, I don't keep books after I read them, unless they're the aforementioned ones.
Hmm.
I like to keep them in the book universe. I run a little free library in my neighborhood,
Nice.
and I donate a lot to my friends of the library neighborhood store. And I'm always giving books to everybody
I
I
love
know.
that. Yeah, I really, and I'm going to because things have kind of even out with work a little bit, but I want to go make content with our library. Just
Yeah.
I know even libraries are somehow under attack at this point, and I'm like, I need to go make content with them too.
Yeah, well, and I think, one of the things that's super important that I don't know if people know this or not, but even if you don't use the library, every single person should sign up for a library card
Hmm.
because their membership is what dictates their funding.
Yeah.
And libraries, as you said, libraries are under attack, and it's
Hmm.
literally the one place on earth that everybody is equal.
I
Everyone who
know.
walks in the door, it's the most equitable place you can be in our society.
Hmm.
And I love the library. I'm obsessed with
Hmm.
it. I'm so fortunate here where I live. There's probably 10 great libraries I can go
Oh,
to.
that's awesome.
And yeah, and I just like to sometimes go and hang out there and just
Yeah.
like walk around, and like I love librarians. They're probably my
Yes.
favorite people on earth. Like
Yes.
yeah, so guys, anyone watching, sign up for a library card.
Yes. Yeah. We actually literally have one, like one went in our neighborhood. Like when we moved
Oh, nice.
here, there it was tiny when we moved here. It's crazy how much it's grown. And so then like as it got bigger, our town actually ended up getting its own library. And so then I finally just got, because I used to have to literally go to another town over, but I finally got one here. And I just, when I posted about it, because I was like, I think I'm gonna like reach out, like what kind of content does anyone think would be useful? It was interesting because some people were responding and saying like how their library has even like access to 3D printers. Like there's like so much that people
Oh,
also don't even know about.
um,
And so when she said that, I was like, that's crazy. Like she must live somewhere like, I don't know, like more populated than where I do.
yeah.
And then I checked mine. You can literally 3D print things. It's like 50 cents a minute.
Oh,
And they have like
wow.
classes. So I was just looking at it all. And I'm like, there's so much. And then it's like, we don't have kids, but it's like you get discounts to like museums and stuff. Like
Yeah, yeah.
there's just so much to it. So I need to just go in and be like, hey, I would like to make content with you guys.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, and again, as you said, libraries and the funding is under attack right now,
Yeah,
and, that's a big part of the attempt to dumb down this population.
I
And I
know.
think the more people are reminded, because, so many people read their books on online now, they purchase them, Audible, that type of stuff.
Hmm.
But you can get all of that through your library as
You
well, through
can.
Libby, through Hoopla. Like you can do all of those things. Like I
Yes.
have a good friend who we were talking about books, and she said, "Oh, I buy everything off of Amazon." Like, and I'm like, "Oh, well, you're reading 10-year-old books, and you're
Yeah.
spending $17 for it." And I opened up my Libby app, and they're literally all available. She'd never even
Right.
heard of it before.
Yeah. Yeah, and also kind of to your point about even just getting a library card in general. I know that like especially with like debut authors and new authors, like requesting that book from the
Yes.
library really helps them out too. So
Yep.
it's like
Yep.
I do want to like push some stuff out there about that because it's like I didn't know that our library had a 3D printer. Like that's kind of
So
cool.
crazy. I'm
Yeah.
sure. I'm sure there's a whole litany of things that I don't even. And I go to the library. I'm sure there's a
Yeah.
whole litany of things they do that I don't even know about.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Um I loved going to the library too when I was a kid. And like that was like when I got to check out more than two books. That's when I was like, "Oh my god, my life is
I've
amazing.
arrived.
My mom let me check out four books. Oh god." And the personal pan pizzas. That part is like
The
I
best.
like how we were just all like eating pizzas for
Mhm.
reading.
Yeah. I still reward myself with pizza when I read to
That's great.
learn
That's a good
behavior.
idea. Or like I don't know. I saw a meme here recently, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, blast from the past!" But there used to be like the test you would take to like after you read a book.
Hmm.
Like someone just shared a screenshot of it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I remember." Just like racking up how many books I could read and then like
Yeah.
answering these silly questions about them.
Yeah. That's a core memory.
I know it is. My parents, at one point, they were just trying to encourage reading in general. And so it was something like for the summer, for every book we read, we would get $1. And then for every five we read, we would get $5. and my brother like didn't make any money. And I made so much that like after the first month, they're like, I don't think we need to pay you to do this. And I was like, yeah, I mean, you don't.
We're changing the rules on this game.
Yeah, they're like, never mind. I guess you already wanted to, which is
We-
like, that's kind of the crazy thing. I have a niece and nephew, and I talk to my sister-in-law sometimes, and like her daughter, my niece, like will go through phases where she's like, oh, reading is really fun. She was actually reading the Inheritance games. She's like 14, so
I
that
love
was
that.
like kind of right up her alley. But she's like, but then she just like sometimes she'll read like 30 pages and then won't read for weeks and then we'll pick it back up. So it is interesting because like it doesn't just like naturally like
Yeah.
not everyone's naturally like into it. But we are obviously.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Was there any book, so you kind of came out, you said you tried to read lit fic, which I also came from a family that was like hoity-toity is the word that just came to mind, and I couldn't tell you why, but like the very like they were also very academic about like what they
Yes.
read and kind of the
Yes.
pompous version of that. And so I discovered thrillers in college basically when I was like finally picking what I read for fun. And so oh gosh, why can't I think of the Peter Swanson title now? The Kind Worth Killing.
Kind of killing.
The Kind Worth Killing and Gone Girl were like in my
Oh
first
yeah.
few months of reading, so I always think
Wow.
of those. I know
Way
when
to set
I'm
the bar high.
right, like there was not much room to go up from there.
No.
But I always think of those when I think of like starting to read stuff that I really loved. Do you have any memories of any of the books that were like, oh, I like this
Yeah.
more?
Yeah. Well, I think if I were to pick my Mount Rushmore of books, I would definitely have Misery by Stephen King on it.
Oh yeah.
But I was reading Stephen King when I was like 13 and
Oh, that's
14.
cool. Yeah.
Probably too young. I was reading Stephen King, V.C. Andrews, Dean Arkuntz, like
Wow.
these authors. And then I went into high school and I was in AP English, and I had this AP English teacher, Mrs. Caulfield, who I was not a huge fan of, still not, because she kept saying, don't read books like that. You shouldn't be
Ugh,
reading books like that. And made me think, because she was an authority figure,
right.
made me think, and she's like, oh no. And she would be like, don't read that and hand me Madame Bovary.
Oh, yeah. That's
Like,
not the same.
it's not the same to a 14-year-old boy who's literally trying to escape the world. Like,
Right.
a 19th century French woman is not is not
Not doing it for you.
his escapism.
Yeah.
But Misery is a book that I remember. I still vividly remember. It was the first book I stayed up all night reading. I
Oh yeah.
couldn't stop reading it. And Annie Wilkes, that character changed my life. And
Yes.
I think I think when people do heroin, they call it chasing the dragon. And I
Yes.
spent many years chasing that dragon.
Yes.
And Gone Girl was one of those books
Mm,
that, for me, I think Gone Girl is kind of the pace car for everything that I read now. Gone
yeah.
Girl, The Girl on the Train, those two books kind of,
Yep.
if you like those books, you'll like everything that I read.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But
They
yeah,
were
definitely Misery.
so good. There was like what I
So
think that's
good.
what the time. So it would have been like around 2012 probably. So it was. It
Oh,
was like
yeah. Yeah.
early then. We really had some
Hmm.
bangers from the thriller
Yeah.
writers.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I love it. And it was also my first experience with an unreliable narrator with Gone Girl.
Hmm.
Spoiler
Yeah.
alert. Hopefully, if you're listening to this, that's not a
Well,
spoiler alert for you at this
it's
point.
13. I think 13 years is actually
I,
the expiration on
yeah,
spoilers.
in this genre with that book, like I
Yes.
think we're safe.
Yes. Yes.
Um, but I just remember like also like learning the term unreliable narrator and like saying it all the time and like feeling so
Oh,
cool. And I'm
all the
like,
time.
oh my gosh, sorry, someone just texted me and it totally stole my attention. I just kept saying it. I was like, unreliable narrators are so interesting.
So interesting.
Yeah, I loved it. I remember like reading through my lectures, like literally, because you can also read on a computer. Like you can pull up your Kindle library through
Oh yeah.
Amazon, and I remember sitting in lectures that I didn't ever remember anything about because I was like, I have to finish this book. It's so good.
Well, and which one of those things are you using now? Let's be honest.
Exactly. I didn't even graduate.
You made good choices, Kate. You made good
Yes. I
choices.
think reading was the right choice for me.
Always.
Yeah. Do you think you know, because I know we don't always know, but do you think you know what you love about reading thrillers?
Yeah, I do. I think for me, I I need to constantly be considering what's going to happen.
I
I was reading an article recently, I think it was in the New York Times, about Reese Witherspoon's book club.
Yeah.
And she said what made her kind of develop this book club is because she wasn't interested in reading a 700-page book about a tree. And that so explained me, and I was like, I feel so seen when I love Reese's book club.
Oh
Almost
yeah.
every single one of her choices, I feel like it's curated for me.
Yeah.
I primarily read female authors.
Hmm.
I like to be entertained. I like to escape. I
Yep.
like some emotion, and I like all those things too. But
Hmm.
for me, it's the escapism. It's
Yeah.
the and I like that thrill.
Yeah. I feel that. I think that's a huge part of it for me. The other thing is like uh trying to figure things out, like pulls me to the end is kind of the best way I can describe it. Like where you're just so locked in that you're like theorizing while you're doing other things.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law who I just mentioned, she like mostly reads like historical fiction, like a lot of World War II, I think.
Aren't they all set in World War II?
I think you're right. Exactly. It could
We've
never
got the
be
maid of
me.
Auschwitz, the housekeeper of Auschwitz, the janitor of Auschwitz.
Yes, yes. Um, and then she read, I always forget, I think it's called The Frozen River or The Frozen Winter, which
Yes,
is like
Frozen River. Frozen River.
historical
Lawson.
fiction, but also thriller. I know, I feel
Yes.
like I would enjoy it from what I've heard.
It's an excellent book. Ariel Lawson. I actually saw her at an author event
Oh, that's
and
cool.
last year at Beverly Hills Library.
Okay,
Very
I need to
interesting
read it.
woman. And yeah, I can deal with historical fiction
Yes.
because Wanda M. Morris writes some that are
Oh
like
my
that.
gosh, she's
That I
fantastic.
oh obsessed with her. So
Yes.
I like that basis in history because I do enjoy history.
Yeah.
And I do read some nonfiction. I just finished a nonfiction book yesterday that
Hmm.
I'm slightly obsessed with right now.
What was it?
But it's called No More Tears, and
Okay.
I can't say it's an expose, but it's a book about all of the atrocities the Johnson and Johnson company has done to American consumers.
Yes, I've seen that cover. Yep.
It is
Oh,
it's a I was holding out to get it on Libby because I didn't know if I want to invest in buying the book
I
because
get that.
sometimes nonfiction can be a little dry for me.
Yeah.
I tear through I don't DNF not any fiction books. Like
Hmm.
everything I start, I finish. That's
Good for
kind
you.
of what I do. I'm not reading
I
300 books. I'm not reading,
Yeah, yeah,
War and
still.
Remembrance.
I've had
Yeah,
some DNFs this year, but so,
really.
sometimes it's also related to like if I have a deadline either on NetGalley or I'm
Okay.
interviewing someone, it's like I need to move on to something that I do like is kind of where it had to come from this year.
Now,
Um,
question for you.
mhm.
What do you, okay, because I sometimes think I have some like DNSs, like did not start. Like how much
Uh,
of the book,
that's a good
because
point.
sometimes I'll read a chapter or two and be like, oh, I'm not vibing with that right now. Like we'll
Yeah,
come back to it at some point, but so I don't really consider that a DNF.
that's a good point. Mine's like if I'm at like 80 pages, and also
Okay.
one of the main indicators for me is that I am just opening TikTok and doom scrolling every chance I get
Gotcha.
instead
Gotcha.
of picking the book up. And then I'm like, that typically means I'm to the point where I've already debated, like, am I liking this enough? And so then that's kind of when if I'm like truly like just not going to the book, that's kind of my indicator. But it's like sometimes it is so hard because sometimes if I do just power through, I end up being like, wow, I'm really glad that I
Yeah.
like sat with that setup. So that's the part that's really hard for me. But I think I can't remember if we were saying it before I hit record or not. But people who like consistently have 1 and 2 star reviews, I'm like, Steph and I have talked about it too. It's like you clearly don't know yourself. Like how are you picking books
100%.
that
Yeah.
poorly for yourself?
Yeah. Who hurt you?
Yeah, like either that's kind of what we've joked about. Like either you kind of like hating things, which is definitely a
Mhm.
personality type,
100%.
or what are you doing here? Like why are you
Yeah.
picking these books? So like the other main thing I learned is like especially women, well I read a lot of fiction that really is like female main characters, but when they're just like willing to completely look past like a lot of red flags, I've learned that that one doesn't work for me. It's like
Okay.
sometimes people get so excited about it and then I'll be like, "Oh, I do want to read this," but like sometimes or not sometimes. I've just had to learn that like when I'm reading that, I'm like, "Come on, girl. Come on." So I
Yeah.
need to like not pick
Yeah.
those up anymore. I had a couple of those DNF this year and I'm like, I need to
Okay.
just let it go. I have plenty on my radar or whatever. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I am with that. I get what you mean though with the do not starts because there are some where you're like, oh, never mind, this isn't. Sometimes you can tell just the tone too. You're like, oh, like
Yes.
this sentence, the way it all like reads in my
Yeah.
head isn't working for me.
Yeah. Like if the
Um,
first page you're trying to describe the room that you're in, it's
mm,
probably not a good fit for me most of the time.
same.
I kind of need something to get going fairly soon in a
Hmm.
book. I like that.
Yeah,
Um, I like a little energy up front. Then you
I
can
do
take time
too.
to develop the characters, paint the scenery, all of
Yes,
that. But I gotta kind of know and I like books that are like, and then she walked in on his dead body.
yes,
And chapter two is 4 months ago. I like
yes.
that.
I do
I
too.
always my absolute favorite TV show of all time is Desperate Housewives.
Oh
So
yeah.
I always kind of think like, would this happen on Wisteria Lane? Because if it would,
Yes.
I would love this. So that's kind of like when I just need something that's good and fun to read. That's kind of my go-to.
Yeah. I have you been watching Your Friends and Neighbors?
No, I have
Okay.
not been watching anything. Like I used to be
Okay.
such a TV person,
I don't watch
and
as much as I
I
used to.
it's crazy. Like I'm
Yeah.
literally right now only because of my husband. I'm watching. I'm even embarrassed to say. Um, it's a docu
Overcompensating? Oh,
series.
no.
It's a docu series about the plight of young mothers in Appalachia.
Wow. That is
No,
very
it's
specific.
a it's
Okay.
teen it's Teen Mom on
Oh, nice. That's even oh, that's hilarious. You should write copy for people.
Yes, yes, right.
That's amazing. The only reason I brought that up was I've talked about them a couple of times. Pop Fiction Women. It's a
Yes,
podcast. They,
yes, I
I
know them.
yeah, I love the stuff that they share. But they did an episode about it, and she called it what was her? Oh, You plus Desperate Housewives, and that is a
Oh,
really good descriptor. Except like you're not, it's not the super darkness of
okay.
You. It's that John Hamm's character like narrates, but
Okay. What's
it's a lot more. The gist of it is he's been married for like 20 years.
okay.
The pilot has one of the best like you're supposed to do this, so you do this, and then you get married, and so you do like he breaks down like how he got to where he was, and it's like such a
Okay.
good way of showing even just how capitalism has shaped especially men in that generation.
Okay.
Not that it's not all generations, but so he works his way all the way up. He's like in some version of finance. I haven't stayed up with it.
Okay.
And gets the bigger house, but then it's even like showcasing how he was like, so you think I'm rich, but what I am is like leveraged. And there's some witty funny line about like which means everything looks okay, but you're actually like just barely paying for
Barely making it.
everything.
Yeah.
So it's really witty, and I really was
Okay.
impressed with that. So
Okay.
then he finds out that his wife has been cheating on him with his best friend for like a year.
Hmm.
She they separate, and somehow she keeps the house. And so now she's living in the house that he bought for them, and he's living in like a condo. Nothing against condos. This is just what happened. So somehow she gets to keep the house, and he's paying her not matrimony, alimony,
Alimony. Yeah.
alimony. um, and then he gets fired from his job because his boss is like a little intimidated by him. So now he's
Okay.
not making any of the money. He's not even living in his house. Their teenage children like hate him, even though mom was the one who was cheating. And the way I felt when I got to the end of the first episode, I was like, I didn't think I was ever going to feel bad for like a 50 plus white man in finance,
White
straight white
man.
man in finance. And somehow they did it. Like, you feel how unfair it is. And
Okay.
he's not an asshole either. So
Gotcha.
that's my long way of saying it's not like the dark version of you, but you get
Okay.
his narration, and it's like all of this snarky kind of witty satire as he even starts to realize how ridiculous the excess is in the neighborhood that he lives in. So,
Interesting.
and then there he has to resort to some criminal activities to keep up
Oh,
appearances.
okay.
So I'll just
I mean,
leave it at that. But the
it sounds like
pilot's
something I would love.
fantastic. The
Yeah,
pilot's
I'll
really
check it
good.
out. It's
Yeah.
interesting you just said you because
Mhm.
I just started reading the books. I
Oh
just
yeah.
finished last week, Hidden Bodies last week,
Hmm.
and my next book after I get over this Johnson and Johnson hangover is going to be number 3 in the series.
Nice.
I'm
I still haven't read the books, and it seems
oh my God,
I'm glad I'm not the only one that you're like just
yeah, I
getting
mean
to it.
I am obsessed with Joe.
Oh, yeah.
I'm upset. And I never saw the show, so I have no
Oh,
point of reference going into
okay.
this. And so I did a little combo immersive listening, reading and listening at the same time.
I did
And I
too.
love the guy, I don't know what his name is, who does the audiobooks.
Mm.
I'm like, it's not the first serial killer I've had a crush on, but
Right.
I'm absolutely a fan of the books. Check them out.
I
Like,
know. I do
they're
need to read
top
them.
notch. The first 2 are fabulous. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
She's what an idea and execution like from her. It's such a cool
Well done.
concept. Yeah, totally.
Well done.
What was that making me just think of? It made me think of something, but I think it left my brain. Oh, you can read and listen. I
Yeah.
I have heard about this, and I feel like
Yeah.
it would literally stress me out. So I'm just like impressed.
I thought it
Can
would
you
too.
read it? Do you read above 1x? Or
Oh, of
listen, sorry, do
course.
you
Yeah.
listen?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Because 1X to me is like it sounds like someone's talking in slow motion to me.
Yeah, it stresses me out to have it sound
Really?
fast. Yeah,
See,
and my
it stresses me out for it to be at
that's how my
1 because I feel
husband
like
is.
1 is for like, no offense, but like for my mother,
That's
who
okay.
you have to speak very clearly and very succinctly to,
Yes.
and she has to understand.
Yeah.
But I'm just kind of a fast talker in general.
Yeah.
And yeah, I usually listen around 1.5.
Yeah.
And
I feel
then
you.
sometimes if I'm like tearing through it, because I read fast.
Yeah.
So I pace it to
Right.
my physical reading, I pace the audio to that.
Yeah. And are you in that case reading a physical book or the like?
Yes, yes.
Oh
I
wow.
really enjoy physical books. They're my
Mm-hmm.
it's always my go-to is a hardcover physical book. That's always my
Hardcover even.
go-to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah, I get
am.
sad
Go
when I
ahead.
can't get my book in. I just get sad when I can't get a book I love in hardcover.
Yeah. Well, at
I don't know why.
least that I feel like it's better if you're a physical book reader to prefer it because that's what comes out first. I'm always like it
First, yeah.
like I would prefer a floppy paperback if I was going to read
Okay.
a physical book, but it's so then
Okay.
then I had the realization of like, oh, if I wasn't an e-reader, like I
Yeah.
would have to wait for so
A
many
year.
books. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
totally.
like hope that it did well enough to become a
Well
paperback.
enough.
So I feel like I lucked out on that one, but I
I think
just
that might be why I prefer hardcovers, maybe because they come
maybe
out
it is.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just kind of develop that.
Yeah, I like I really enjoy like publication day and being involved in that
Mm.
and like even like perfect example like their double lives by Jamie Lynn
I was just gonna bring
Hendricks.
it up. Hmm.
I love her.
I do
She's become
too.
a good buddy of mine here.
She's so
She's a
sweet.
she's such a great person,
Hmm.
and she sent me a copy of her book, but of
Hmm.
course I'm buying it today too,
Right.
because obviously if I love an artist
Yeah.
or an author, I will still buy their book when it comes out because I
Totally.
think, it's so important, and I request them at my library. Even if I don't check them out, I still request
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
But, I'm a literal hype man when it comes to people that I
That's the best.
enjoy. And if you're an excellent writer and you're a good person,
I know. Like
done,
Jamie.
done. Sign me up.
Yes. The shameless plug that this episode is going to be coming out like 3 days after Jamie Lynn Hendricks episode. Oh, it's so pretty. I love the teal and the
It's
orange
so
together.
pretty. The book is
Yeah.
so good.
It is wild.
I It's so good because I think, especially anyone who's ever owned a dog, like
Yes.
when you use that as a justification, you have literally like anyone who's ever had a dog is like, I get it. I
Yes.
get it.
Yes.
I was flying back. I flew out to New York in
Oh, wow.
January, and a friend of mine was starring in Chicago. I'd never seen Chicago before, so we go out there. It's like
Mhm.
7 degrees, which I live in Southern California. I'm not designed for that kind of
No,
weather.
you're
Like it was
not.
so cold. Like it was so cold.
I can only imagine
Even the
how
people
shocking that is.
it was awful. It was awful. It was a miserable time. So finally, my husband and I were like, let's just go home. Why are we here? Like, he lived in New York when we met. We've been in New York plenty of times. So I'm like,
Oh,
let's just go
okay.
home.
Yeah.
So as we're in the airport, I get the NetGalley has approved your your for this. So I downloaded it and read it on my Kindle on the air
Oh, that's
in
amazing.
one in the flight on the flight home. I read it, and by the time I got off the flight, I'm like texting her like, "This is amazing! You did it
So
again!"
good.
Like, I think Finding Tessa, I think is
Mm.
one of the best thrillers that's come out in the last 5 years. I think
Hmm.
it's phenomenal. I think a phenomenal book. I can't believe it was
Yeah.
her debut.
I can't
And I think
either.
last year, An Honest Lie was my number two or number three book last year.
Yeah.
So
That one was so
yeah,
good.
so
Um,
good.
and what was I gonna say? I think my favorite still though is actually It Could Be Anyone. I
Hmm.
loved
Hmm.
the way she did, which we Garrett and I were saying that to her because we talked to her about their double lives. I just feel like Ashley Winstead has coined her the queen of the page turner, which I also agree
Yeah,
with. I also feel like
agreed.
she is the queen of multi POV. Like she just does
Yeah,
it so well
so well.
and it's so fun. But to the dog point, I had this kind of like crazy confluence of events this week. So we interviewed her I think last week, like on Thursday or Friday or
Yes.
something.
Yeah.
And then uh I follow a lot of what I do consume on TikTok. A lot of is a lot of like film bros, I guess is what I'm still going to call them, not in a bad way.
Okay. Okay.
But someone shared about there was a documentary done about the making of the John Wick movies. It's called
Yes,
Wick is
I was just
Pain.
looking about that this morning. Yeah.
Yeah. So for anyone who's wanting to, you can go find it too. Um, you do just have to buy it, I think, for $10. I think it was
Okay.
purchased instead of rental. So it's not on a platform, basically, is the only reason I was saying that. Um, but he was talking about how he was like, I thought I loved the John Wick movies before, and like I love them even more now. And I love like all that like BTS kind of stuff
Yeah,
about
I do too.
like if it's books or movies or TV, like I just
Yeah.
want to hear about it all coming together.
Yeah.
So we finally like we bought it like 3 or 4 days ago and just it's 2 hours long. It's fantastic, but like it just kept being too late to start it basically by the time we were done with work. And so we watched it last night, but the like kind of trippy part was I had just edited the episode of Jamie. And then they were talking about how like it's hard to think because we all know that John Wick's like, well, they kill his family, but his wife, but also his puppy. They kill a
I
dog,
know.
and that is what launches all of these deaths.
Yes.
and so we're all kind of a little more used to that now, I think, like culturally, but they were talking about how like studios kept wanting to like it almost did not get made. They kept wanting to
Oh,
drop it.
really?
Yes.
I could see that. I could see that.
Yeah. And so then when they were doing the test audience, the like first they would do the screenings, the first question for everyone was um does the dog death justify the like amount of human deaths that come after? And they said that men were at like 60%. I think it was like 58% said yes. women said 92% of them said
Oh
yes.
wow.
And I turned to Tyler and I was like, that's actually kind of like it's almost like kind of your proof. Like, of course it did well. They managed to even capture the female audience for like a really action heavy movie too.
Yeah,
Because we're all
I'm
like, yes,
super.
that's my baby that you killed. I will kill all of you. And so then I turned around, I was like, wait a second. I was like, literally the episode that just came out today is a thriller about like what a woman
Yeah,
is willing to do to save her dog.
save her
So I'm
dog.
just having all the dog stuff this week.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that those numbers are that low.
I know.
Like,
The
I
men,
mean, the
yeah.
world that I live in, I'm like, that would be unanimous. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. You told me
interesting.
before, just so everyone has context, you have 4 dogs as that are friends with Agatha.
Yes, Agatha has three brothers and a sister. Yeah,
Oh, that's so adorable. I just,
yeah,
it's always so cute. Well, I guess I don't know if your dogs are big, but like when cats are little and the dogs are bigger, or big dogs with little dogs, so cute.
yeah, yeah. I have they range in size from like 15 pounds to 40
Oh,
pounds.
wow.
But
Okay.
they're
They're
all
not huge.
floofy. They all look like Dolly Parton at different points in her career.
Oh my
Yeah, like we have
gosh, I
70s
love
Dolly,
that.
we have 80s Dolly, we have current day Dolly.
Oh,
They're all blonde and floofy.
oh my gosh, that's adorable.
Yeah.
Ours are Harley's like, I hear the dog voice. Do you want to talk to me? She hasn't moved this
She's
whole
all,
time.
she's all,
Uh,
that's my people.
yeah, she is. But yes, Jamie Lynn Hendricks, everyone needs that book.
Love.
If you love
Yes.
thrillers, you've got to read it. It's
Yeah,
just so fun. I love her voice, her tone, all of it.
me too.
And she's just the best. It was crazy. Ashley Winstead was technically my first interview. She's the second episode
Okay.
that I ever released, but I like recorded it before the first one. And that was for In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, which is like
Okay.
crazy thinking back on it now. Like you're just like, how did that much time pass already? Um, but she was at the end, she was like, you need to read this book by this new author, Jamie Lynn Hendricks. So she's even who connected me with Jamie
Wow.
for Finding Tessa. She was like, I loved this book that she wrote. Like it wasn't even
Wow.
out yet. And so she connected us. And I think I even read like a PDF version of it. Like I didn't have NetGalley at that point either because I didn't have a platform to like fill out everything to be like, here's what I do.
I mean,
Um,
that's pretty impressive that Ashley was your first guest. I mean,
I know.
it's she's kind of like your Gone Girl, you know.
I
She's
know. She
she
really
set the bar
is.
high.
And that's what was so
Yeah.
crazy because recently, we're basically building packages for authors because in my
Yes.
like regular life, my regular job or whatever, my husband and I make content for people for social media.
Oh,
So
very
then
cool.
we wanted to be like, I should be offering this to authors too. And so then it was crazy because we thought we were going to do the first, like a trial one with Liz and Greg, who it's like Elizabeth McCulloch Keenan. I always forget because she's using
Yes.
her full name,
Yes.
and Greg Wands.
Trust issues.
Yes, for trust issues.
Yeah.
And then
So good.
we got sick, and then they got sick the next weekend.
No.
So I ended up going to their launch party, but we didn't have time to like make the content
Okay.
ahead of time, which was like sad at the time, and it still would have been fun to do. But then it felt kind of like kismet because then Ashley, who was my first interview, was then my
Uh,
first example for these
so
social media
full
packages.
circle. I like that.
Yeah. So there's some cool synchronicities there, basically with
And
Ash.
what a great book to work with. This book
I
with Bury Me
know.
is
Oh my gosh.
phenomenal.
I loved it.
It was so good.
So good.
It's right now sitting in my top three of the year so far.
Definitely.
Yeah.
The depth of like emotion she went into was so impressive. And because I
It
can't
is.
stop talking about it, one of the things that's interesting to me about We Don't Talk About Carol is to give a very short description. This comes out on June 3rd.
Okay.
But when I made it to like 60% last night. And I had been like, what is this kind of reminding me of? And it's a story of a woman whose grandma passes. And so she goes to her home to kind of like clean up everything, and like get the house ready to sell. And while she's there, she's reminded of some things she had kind of asked about in her childhood, and someone was like, "We don't talk about Carol." So that's like where we
Ah,
get the title. But
okay.
basically, and I don't think this is spoiler at all. I think this is all in the synopsis. She finds out she had an aunt that just no one ever told her about, like her dad's sister. And it's her dad's mom who just passed, and her dad has passed as well. So she has all of these questions and wants to know about it. And then discovers that basically, so Carol was a girl who, in the mid 1960s, one of like five, I think, Black girls who went missing in North Carolina, where they are
Ah,
in Raleigh. And so she gets obsessed with it. And so you're getting like this, you're kind of getting a little bit of historical fiction,
okay.
kind of like the amount I like to get in a
Yeah.
thriller. So you're getting some of that historical fiction aspect. And so then for the longest time, I was like, what's it reminding me of? It's kind of reminding me of This Book Will Bury Me, because the character has so many big
Hmm.
feelings happening and now has gotten obsessed with like, if I solve this, I'll feel better about
I'll
stuff.
feel, yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
really fascinating that it's like it's very much a different story, but I'm gonna have to find like what other story it reminds me of, and then be like, it's like this plus this book will bury me. But it's so
Yeah, this book will bury me for me was so impactful because as I was sharing with you, this has been kind of a season of grief for me. I lost one of my best friends in my life end
oh
of last year, very
oh
very
man,
quickly, and it was actually the first death I've experienced as an adult.
that's
Um,
big.
Huge,
Yeah,
and so seeing how Ashley was processing her grief through this character
yeah,
after losing her father, to me it just spoke to me and touched me at that time and place. And
yeah.
on top of the fact she's a phenomenal writer,
She
you know, it's
is.
yes, it's I have three books now. I'm not sure which is my favorite of the year, but
Yeah,
it's
it's
one
up
of them.
there. I
Yeah,
agree. I really connected with like I haven't lost anyone yet, thankfully.
thankfully.
Um, but I really relate to when feelings get too big, like control is what I'm going to try to go toward. So
Yeah, of
I
course.
really related with like the way that Jane was like trying to be in a world where she could control stuff and find answers,
Yes.
because she couldn't find any answers for what happened to her dad and why it
Yeah.
happened. So
Yeah.
it's so good.
So good.
She's just
She's
amazing.
so talented, and Um, and she's just a fabulously kind human being
She's so
too. That's what.
nice.
Yeah, she's so nice, and
Hmm.
again, I like people that are great authors and good
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
She checks all my boxes too.
She does. She's just the
I feel
best.
like I'm gonna assemble my own like team of Avengers, like
Yes.
my thriller Avengers with like Jamie Lynn and
Yes.
Ashley and Robin Harding
Oh
and
my
May Cobb. I feel
gosh.
like that's
Yes.
my Avengers list.
I know. Oh my gosh. I just saw that Meg Cobb just had that cover announce or cover
Oh,
reveal.
so
I
good.
know.
So good. I
I
just got
can't wait to
chills.
see what it's like.
I had the great benefit last summer when she was doing press for the Hollywood Assistant. I met her
Mm.
First met her at Zibby's bookstore in Santa Monica.
Well, that's
We
cool.
totally hit it off.
Yeah.
She's such a kind person. Then she came back for another event they were having, and then her and Josh Sabaro were at the Barnes and Noble by me. So we just kind of
Yeah.
hit it off, and like she's such a nice person.
I
Like
know.
she is like the definition of a Care Bear. Like she
Yes.
is so kind. She's such a talented writer, and The Hunting Wives is one of my
So
all time
good.
favorite books. Like, can we get that Star series?
I
Like,
know. I think it airs this year, but I can't totally
it's supposed
remember.
to. We
I
just don't
think
have a date
so.
yet.
Okay.
Most of my messages with May are like anywhere from stars,
I
anywhere from stars.
know. I know. That's what when I
Yeah,
interviewed her for, yeah, it would have been a Hollywood assistant. I was the same
Hollywood
thing where
assistant.
I was like, "Do you know anything?"
Yeah,
She's like,
yeah.
"Not really." I was like, "Okay." But
I know. I'm dying to
she's
see
that
her.
like epitome of like she is so sweet and writes some of the most unhinged stuff. I just love it.
Unhinged. And I love to see like I love seeing these female authors especially
Yeah.
support each other.
I
That's what I think is
know.
so dope.
Hmm.
And, you know, especially in this thriller space that's been dominated by male authors for so long.
Totally.
I love seeing this like renaissance of
Hmm.
female authors that are killing it now.
Yes.
Like, I'd say 90% of these books behind me are by female
I
authors.
know. That's what
Yeah.
sometimes when I like scroll through, I'm like, the diversity I'm lacking is straight men for all of my podcasts, but I'm like,
Straight
I
white
can't
men.
help
I'm like,
it.
there you go.
I have like a couple of them a year, I think. And I was
Yeah,
like, oh, well, if that's what
they'll
I'm
be
missing, I'm not
okay.
going to worry about it.
They'll be just fine. I'm sure there's somewhere else in life they'll excel. Where? Who
Probably
knows?
someone will somehow they'll survive. I know. I can't even remember who it was. One of these female authors that we loved. There was an imprint that was like started just for male writers, and someone shared it and they were like, thank God.
Thank God.
No one's been helping them.
No one. How will they ever get ahead in life?
Yeah, totally. Well, kind of adjacent to all the female authors we love, I was asking what your favorite kind of like subgenre is, and you said you love domestic suspense. I
I
do
do.
too.
I do. If it happens in a cul-de-sac, count me
Yes.
in. I am, yeah, like I was telling you, Desperate Housewives is kind of
Hmm.
my go-to. Like, I've rewatched that series probably 10 times, and
Hmm.
I just like that soapy nature to books. I
Hmm.
still read, I love a con artist, I love a mistaken identity, but I
Same.
think you can find a lot of that in these domestic
Yeah, you
suspense
can.
thrillers. So it kind of checks all my boxes. So
Yeah. Yeah, I was realizing because I was looking for some that I love, and it's like literally everything Ashley Audrain, right? So I was like, I
yeah,
can't, well, she has
yeah,
two, but I was
too.
like
Yeah.
looking because I have both of them, and I was like, oh, like both of hers are fantastic versions of
Mhm.
things that happen in
Fantastic.
cul-de-sacs.
Yes.
Yeah. So, do you have some of your favorites that you want to share with everyone?
Yeah. Well, what I was trying to do is I was trying to like go through my book Marie and see, like, I think people talk about the same books all the time,
Right.
right? I think like that happens so much on Book Talk, Bookstagram.
Hmm.
So I was trying to think of some books that I read recently,
Hmm.
because I have the memory of like a gnat. I can read a book, it can be my favorite book ever, my entire personality, and a month later I'm like, what was that about?
Yes.
um so I picked a couple books I read recently. I don't know if you've read this or heard this, but it's called Regrets Only
I have
by.
seen that cover.
Okay, so I randomly picked this up,
Uh huh.
and okay, so PTA, a murder,
Ooh.
smallish town outside of DC, I believe it is.
Hmm.
It's just women behaving badly and drinking a lot. So it's basically was written for me.
You're right.
Um, It is so good. I can't remember. It's set in. I think it's outside of. Yeah. So it's about a television writer who loses her job in LA and
Ooh.
moves back to the small East Coast town she's from. And then as she's trying to get her life together and like get back on her feet and all this stuff, she gets involved with this like PTA murder that happens. And I cannot tell you how fast I read through this book.
Yeah.
My first thought was, why have we not made a TV series out of this? Like, it
Right. It
is,
sounds very
I
creepy.
mean, oh, it sounds like ideal. Like, I'm not sure if you read uh Pink Glass Houses last year.
Yes, yes, I did.
Okay, so similar type of, in that same, if you like this, you'll love this kind of thing.
Hmm.
I had never heard of it before. I picked up the book I think at a bookstore, used bookstore, and just thought, I'll read it, and highly recommend.
Yeah. That one was, I loved the cover of it so much. It
Yeah,
was so
yeah,
pretty.
yeah,
It's so good.
yeah.
I need to pick it up.
And
Or
I
I've
think
seen enough people texting about it or
and
posting
she
about
wrote she wrote another book called Wish You Were Gone.
it.
Don't know
Hmm.
anything about that, but yeah, I
I love it.
yeah. So yeah, I tried to pick something that maybe people
Hmm.
haven't read or
Right. Yeah, I like that. I so since I talked about Ashley Audrain, I this is one a lot of people talk about, but The Push is one of my all-time favorites. Um, I this was another one where like I couldn't stop thinking about it when I wasn't reading it.
Yeah.
Um, the short version is basically this woman Blythe has her first child and it's a girl, Violet. Um, and she is just convinced that there's something wrong with her daughter. There's like ominous stuff going on. And her husband is like, I don't think so. Like, he basically dismisses it the whole time. I'm trying to make sure that I don't spoil what's not in the synopsis. So then they have a second child a few years later, and she finally like connects with this kid. It feels better than the relationship with her daughter. And then things start to get even worse with her daughter, is the best way to say it. But
Yeah.
the way that the way that she like interspersed these like chapters with like also all of this like information about like motherhood and like kind of like multi-generational stories about it was so good. It's just like such a unique book. I don't really have too many comps for it. Like
No,
it's so unique.
it's so unique. And the thing that I found the most interesting for me is how much it made me care about the feelings of a mother, which I'm about as far removed from
Right.
having those feelings as a reader could be.
Right.
And that's what I thought was really cool about how Ashley wrote the book.
Hmm.
Um, because it wasn't a book that the first 20 pages, I was still thinking, am I going to finish this? Am I going to
Hmm.
like this? Am I going to. But then as you start seeing this, it develop and unravel and start seeing like kind of the 100-foot view of what's happening. And
Hmm.
uh, yeah, yeah, worst husband ever. But yeah, I think
Yes. God,
yes.
he is. I do think that's one of the worst husbands that I've read.
One of the absolute worst I've ever read in a book. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. It's bad. It's really bad. How many do you have? Or how many did you pick?
Oh,
Books,
I have
not husbands.
I'm like husbands right now one. Um, I have I can do as many as you'd like me to do. How about that?
Okay.
How many do you have?
I like picked five, so I have them.
Okay. I
Hmm.
have one, two, three, four, five sitting here. So
Nice. Nice.
yeah.
Do you want to do your next one?
Yeah, I do. So my next one is okay, I'm gonna go with this one. So I really like this author. This is a new I think this is my third book of hers I've read.
Hmm.
Um Again, I said I love anything that happens on a cul-de-sac.
Yes.
Um so Aggie, Bloom, Thompson.
Ooh, I've seen
Um
this cover.
Okay, it's so good. First off, the cover is stunning. I like
It is
anything that's done
cool.
in lavender and purple. I'm
I'm
here
glad I
for it.
wore it today.
I know. Look at you. You're all coordinated. Um, so you can always. I like. I'm one of the people who actually likes author endorsements on the
Yeah.
back of a book because when I see that, Robin Harding, Ashley Winstead, Liv Constantine, and B.A. Paris have said you'll love this book. I'm like, I will love this book.
Hmm.
So they have Rachel Housel Hall and Liv Constantine did the blurbs for this
Wow.
book. So it's set in a cul-de-sac community, I think outside of DC. Or do I just think everything takes place outside of? Yeah, it's, East Bethesda, so outside of DC.
Hmm.
These neighbors, they've known each other for a long time. There are things going on between neighbors
Hmm.
that shouldn't be happening between neighbors. I'll leave it at that. I don't know if that's a
Yes.
spoiler or not. But they have a party one night, and as our main female character is leaving, one of the husbands says, "You deserve to know."
Ooh.
And then he's drunk. They get interrupted. She goes home. The next morning, she wakes up to the news that he is dead.
Whoa.
So, and it goes through this whole cast of characters
Hmm.
of was he killed? How did he die? Well, obviously he was killed. How did he die? Who's
Yeah.
involved?
Yes.
um, and the way that it unravels. And so as you as the reader trying to unravel this mystery of how he died,
Hmm.
you're getting all these other mysteries that are involved in this very, very desperate housewives, Wisteria Lane.
Yeah.
You know, there are people that are cheating, there are people that are lying, there are people who their finances aren't what you think they are. And so it starts
Yes.
unraveling all the other threads around this little tight knit group of friends.
Yeah.
Um, Excellent ending. And I would say very few authors write domestic suspense thrillers like this author. I've read 3 books by her now,
Oh, nice.
and they've all been phenomenal. The other one was All the Dirty Secrets, and I can't remember the third one I read.
Yeah.
But she's fabulous. Her books are fabulous. They're fast paced and really good quality writing too. That's
Yeah.
she doesn't do a lot of like, you know, I don't like when authors do twists just for the sake of doing a twist.
I
Like I
agree.
think sometimes that's a little insulting to my intelligence,
I
you know, like
know.
or like it's like, okay, well, that person's been there the whole time, and all of a sudden they're like some maniacal maniac that doesn't make
Yes.
any sense, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, she like she stays true to the story she's telling you,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I take that.
I like that a lot. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't need a twist to like
exactly.
love it. I obviously there are plenty that I do love.
Yeah,
But I still want it to like feel like the world is real. I mean, unless I'm reading like
yes,
sci-fi, I guess. But
and I believe there has to be some respect for the reader.
mhm,
And I think a lot of times when these twists for the sake of a twist, it throws all credibility out the window, and you feel like, okay, like yeah, didn't see that coming because that shouldn't have been coming.
mhm. Right, right. I know. I hate that. I hate when I'm
Yeah, me
loving a
too.
book and then the end.
Uh
Oh, it's so
Drives me crazy.
disappointing. And then I don't know how to rate it because it'll be like 90% of this
Yeah,
book. I was hooked. I
yeah.
was
In the
obsessed.
last 5 pages, you did something stupid, and I'm just like, why didn't you just leave when things were good?
Yes. Yes. It always messes with me. Man, I am just coughing today. Yeah. Well, my other one also has some cheating going on and some, I
Ooh.
mean, of course it does. But I just talked about them earlier. E.G. Scott, it's how Elizabeth McCullough Keenan and Greg Wands wrote together under a pen name. But the woman inside is like, it's
Ah,
wild. It is wild. Very unhinged. And this was also like this was the book that like Gare loved so much that he connected me with them. So that was also how I met them. Um but it's about these Rebecca and Paul who are married. And kind of neither of them thought that they would actually like fall in love and get married ever, but then they do. And so but they've been married for 20 years now, and they both have secrets going on at this point. um this is in the synopsis. Paul is cheating on her, and the woman he's cheating on her with is like getting a little bit worked up about the fact that he hasn't left his wife to be with her. And so then, but then also Rebecca she has an opiate addiction that is like running her
ooh,
life into a bad spot.
me lucky.
So when she finds out about what Paul has been doing, she starts plotting some revenge. And that's all I'm going to say. But the ending is
Okay.
crazy. It is so crazy and so good.
Okay, I saw this on your Instagram,
Hmm.
and I actually have it on my shelf, so I think
Yeah,
that might be the next book I read.
it is so
I've
good.
only heard great things about it. I saw Garrett post about it.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be my next read
yeah,
because it seems like it's right up my alley.
right. Yeah, it's really
Okay,
good. I think you'll love it. You'll
all
text.
right,
You won't be able to not DM me when you get to the end of
okay, all right.
it.
And challenge accepted.
Yes. Yeah,
All
and
right,
they're
so
so cool.
my next is not just a book, but it's an author I just discovered recently.
Ooh.
And I might be tardy to the party on this, but I
Sorry.
recently.
I just made me think of Kim
Um,
Zolciak for a second.
full disclosure: The Real Housewives of Atlanta was on in my house early this morning,
Oh, that's
and it's like
amazing.
season 2 where she's making this song.
And the
It's
wigs are just
the
so
wigs and
huge.
the
Yeah.
wigs and the bravado are out of
Yes.
this world.
Yeah.
But this author is A.R. Torre,
Oh, yes.
who also writes under Alessandra Torre. So
Mm-hmm.
I've read 3 books by her in the last month, we'll say,
Mm-hmm.
and all of them are 4-star or all 4-star books.
Mm-hmm.
And she does such a good. First off, they're fast paced, short chapters. Um, they're all set in a cul-de-sac outside of DC.
Oh,
No, I'm just kidding.
nice.
The most recent one I read was actually set in LA.
Ooh.
But I like because she, like, if you like I'm a huge fan of Robin Harding's writing.
Mm-hmm.
She's one of my absolute favorite authors.
Mm-hmm.
And probably gun to head, I would say she's my favorite author.
Nice.
A.R. Torre writes like her. And
Oh,
I just
you're
like
right.
that style of like the way you feel like you're in the scene. You feel like you're watching, not because you visualize it, because they're so good at creating the dialogue between the characters. So you
Mm-hmm.
almost feel like you're watching a movie, like you're sitting in the scene with them.
Mm-hmm.
And her books are about deception, murder,
Yes.
poisoning, affairs. Huge fan, and I think she's got quite a few books,
She
if I'm not
does.
mistaken, and a new one coming out, I believe, next week,
Oh,
if I'm not
really?
wrong
That
on the
soon?
date.
Nice.
Yeah, I just saw it on Jordy's list of 100 books to read this
Oh,
summer.
nice.
Yeah, so yeah, A.R. Torre. I think if people like stuff like Frida McFadden,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe want it to be elevated just a little bit. Not that there's anything
It's a
wrong with
polite
Frida.
way to say it. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because The
yeah, I
Last
think
Party that you're holding right now, I am obsessed. That book is
good. It's so
so,
good.
and it shouldn't be like, you know what I mean?
It
Like,
shouldn't be.
kind of the main
It shouldn't make
character
any
is
sense.
truly unlikable, but like you're
It
just
is one
so
of
hooked.
the most unlikable characters I've ever
Yes.
read in a book.
Yeah.
Like a despicable human being. And you
Horrific.
should like there should be no question.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so well done, and that's what I mean. The way she's able to make you like unlikable people, or at
Mhm.
least like their experience and like their journey in the book.
Yeah.
So well done,
Yeah.
so well done. And I highly recommend The Last Affair as
That I
well.
want to read that one. That's the one in LA, right?
Yeah, I just finished that one last week,
Yeah.
and so good.
I read, what did I read? I read, why can't I think of the one that I read? It's the one with like, is it The Good Lie? It's like a chair on the
A
cover.
Good Lie. Yeah,
Yes, I've read
yeah,
that
it's a
one.
good
That
lie.
one was crazy. Um, and I read The Girl in
6A.
6A. I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Yes, that's more erotic, right?
Very
That's what I'm.
erotic. It was like,
Yeah,
and I was so torn on that one because I'm not like a prude about it either. But
yeah,
it
same.
was so much mostly erotica and not as much plot. So I didn't end up loving it as much as I thought I would, but it is good. It's good. I just like the other
Yeah,
ones more.
I get what you're saying. I read a book last week for
Hmm.
a Instagram friend, and he writes male romance books.
Hmm.
It's the first time I've ever read a romance book.
Oh, really?
It's essentially porn. I mean,
I know. Like,
like,
I
was
think
like,
that's how I felt. Where I was like,
I mean, and
Torre
I'm
can
not a prude at
accomplish this
all,
like faster for me. Yeah.
right? Yeah, you know me, I'm no quitter. I finished it.
Yes.
But
Yes.
yeah, I was. It opened up my eyes to what romance books are. I had zero
Yeah.
idea. I thought they were like love letters to love, but
Right. Yeah, they can
not
be
so
out there.
much.
They can be out
Yeah, yeah. I was. There were a couple times I was like, should I be reading this in
there.
public?
I
Should I
know.
not?
I know. And it was what was like that was the book that for me like also made me aware of the fact that like there's something about reading about extended sex that also was just like different than seeing it even in a movie or a TV show because she
Yeah.
kept like calling it like my mound and I was like
Uh,
I'm like, why can't I handle this
uh,
word? But I couldn't handle the word.
Get
I
a
was just like,
thesaurus.
okay, well, I guess this isn't my vibe. The only romance I have read is Ashley Winstead.
Okay, I
So
haven't
when
read
I
any
was
of her
shocked that
romance
you hadn't
books.
read it at all, I shouldn't have been. I've literally only read two romance books ever.
Well, I read
Well,
one, and it will probably be a while before I read another one.
yeah, it's that
Again,
or
well written book. I wish him well. It's
mhm,
just not my vibe. Like,
you can't help it.
yeah.
I don't know if Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo's romance, but I don't think it is. I guess I've read that too.
I I mean that I think that has a little romance to it,
Yeah.
but that's a book that I shouldn't like either because I don't like
Yes.
historical fiction. I don't
Right.
like, but I actually really enjoyed the book.
Loved it so much.
Well, I think I was
Um,
also caught. I like being part of a
Zeitgeist.
moment too.
Yeah.
Yeah, zeitgeist, much better word.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's played a part of why I enjoy the book so much too.
Mm-hmm. Me too. I think so. Um, to your point about blurbs convincing you to read books, though, this next one, I saw it on NetGalley, and then I saw that Ashley Audrain blurbed it, and I was like, okay, so fits well with my other ones. What did she say? It's Madwoman by Chelsea Bieker, and she said, Ashley said, the rare kind of book, it's really small on my screen, that lives in your bones, emotional suspense at its best. And I was like,
Okay.
okay, sign me up. And it ended up being one of my favorites of all of last year. And I got to go see her in Chicago too, actually.
Oh, nice.
I got to see Chelsea talk about it, which was cool. But it is about a woman named Clove, and she basically has the life that she like the best life. She has a great husband, she has two kids, she likes she loves her life. And has built her life mostly in reaction to wanting it to be nothing like her childhood. So, but some things start happening in her present life that basically shake up the memories of living in Waikiki with her mother and her father. And it says, I'm trying to keep it vague because I need to, but it basically says she's forced to finally unravel the defining day of her life. How did she survive that day? And what will it take to end the cycle of violence? So it's very emotionally driven. It's obviously about a traumatic childhood, and like learning to face those and kind of like step into who she is and like live her truth completely. So it's very emotional. It's also very suspenseful. And this is one of those rare, like a lot of people, yeah, it has literary fiction even listed on Goodreads.
Yeah.
A lot of people would say like this is a literary thriller, and it's one of those rare ones that works for me. I was just talking to Steph about,
Yeah.
I feel like 30% of literary thrillers work, but then the ones that do work I love so much.
Work really
So
well.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
Well, I think they almost have to be written by women for it to
definitely
work for
that.
me. And the one thing I liked about this, I agree with you completely on this book. I didn't expect to like it, but I got it through either Book of the Month or Aardvark, one of my
Mm-hmm.
subscription services, and I saw one of the people I follow on Instagram raved about it. Said, "I love this book. I love this book." So I picked it up, and the thing that I really liked about it, and I don't think this is a spoiler, but it's part of that like human journey where you can't truly accept and embrace who you are without embracing all the parts of what made you.
Yes.
And that's what I really enjoyed, the message that resonated with me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that bad doesn't beget bad, bad
Mm-mm.
just begets experience.
Right.
Bad begets reaction.
Yeah.
Bad begets, self-soothing and these things that,
Mm-hmm.
manifest in a different way for us.
Yes.
Really enjoyed that. And I thought it was done very well. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
heavy-handed in that.
No.
Um, yeah, I thought was that Chelsea's first book?
Second or
Second book? Okay.
third.
Okay,
She has
okay,
one called God Shot, and I think there's a like short story collection called
okay,
Heartbroke.
okay. Yeah, I wasn't familiar with those, but
Yeah.
um my thought was it's a phenomenal debut had it been her debut.
I know. It's so good. And
Yeah,
she's
it
very
is
cool. It was very cool hearing her talk about it
nice.
and how it related to her own experiences. That's probably where some of the depth of it
Interesting.
came
Yeah,
from. Hmm.
yeah. Well, I like when you get that. I that's one of the things that where when you talk about lit fic and thrillers meeting and working well,
Hmm.
it's when they're able to really actualize that human experience in it.
Hmm.
You know, because so many things that we read in thrillers, it's like that would never happen to me. I'm probably not going to come in contact with a cult. I'm probably not
Hmm.
going to come in contact, well, except for the big one in our country now.
I was gonna
But
say the red
I
hat
don't come in
cult.
contact with them.
Yeah.
Um, but you know, I like it when it resonates with something that you can relate to,
Hmm.
and that's kind of where that crossroad of lit fic and thriller, I think, where it succeeds.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm speaking of
Hmm.
um, cults, and I would venture to say this is probably in the lit fiction genre
Hmm. Oh, nice.
as well. Um, but definitely a thriller. This is one of my absolute favorite authors. I think she's so underrated. I've read 3 books by her. She has a new book coming out this year as well called This Side of Paradise, I think it's called.
Mm.
But it's Janelle Brown.
Yes.
Another beautiful cover.
Hmm.
Her books are typically set, I don't know if she's from California, but they're typically
Yeah.
set in LA. Yeah, she lives in Los Angeles. So this book is about 2 childhood actors. They're kids as actors on like a Nickelodeon show. They grow up. One loves it, one doesn't. They
Hmm.
reach, I think, their early mid-teens and decide they're not doing it anymore. So as they leave the industry and start trying to find themselves in school and education stuff, one goes a very traditional route, getting married, having kids, successful, beautiful house. The other goes into like drug addiction, self harm. None of this is a spoiler.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so one day, one of the twins gets a call and says the other one is missing. And that's kind of the jump off point of
Hmm.
this novel. And so it's about this, um, and I like how it deals with things like addiction, how it
Hmm.
deals with, you know, really putting a face to addiction that you're not bad. It's a
Hmm.
that, and I think that's what a lot of addicts feel is I'm a bad person. I've hurt everyone. I've done this. But this book really delves into, seeing inside of that, what that looks like for
Hmm.
them.
Yeah.
And as they're trying to do the right thing and it also explores what made this woman the way she is.
Hmm.
So super family based. I don't think it's a spoiler. There's a cult element to it as well,
Yeah.
which I'm always here for.
Hmm.
Um, and if anyone read We Are Watching this year by Allison Galen,
Oh yeah, I haven't.
um, really good. It's in my top 3 of the year as well.
I'll read it.
Similar vibes to it. Storyline nothing alike, but I like a book that throws in a cult and it's not about cults. Like
Mhm.
Ashley Winstead,
Yes.
the last
That's
housewife.
yes. That's my favorite
Yes,
of hers.
so good,
Yeah, it's still
so good.
technically number one for me.
It is so good. Like I put that in my that would be on my probably my top 10
Yeah.
thriller list as well.
I have
But
a lot of
Janelle
rage
Brown.
toward like perverting religions that way. Ooh, you disappeared.
Oh,
Oh, there you are.
there I am. Um, yeah, I grew up in a very Southern evangelical community as well.
Yep.
So, yeah, I cults are like a sweet spot for me.
Yeah,
I like seeing the inside of it, and rarely does it work out well for the cult in the books I read. So it's
exactly. That was my other thing that I tend to love about thrillers, and Gary and I sometimes whatever go different directions on this. Some of it is I do kind of want someone to overcome something in the book. Like there is
Yeah.
the fun feeling of like, especially like you're saying with like cults or systemic stuff, like feeling like someone got I don't know, I'm having such bad hiccups. Got past something
Hmm.
really works for me. And he loves a bleak ending, and there are some endings they're bleak-ish, and I still do end up loving them. But most of the time, I kind of want someone to overcome something, and I think it's like
Yeah,
it feels good to read a book where like even though bad
I
things are
agree.
happening, you can overcome it.
Yeah, because I think I mean, isn't that what we all want in this world? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
to overcome the whatever obstacles and diversity we're dealing with, and
right.
sometimes seeing that vicariously through these
Hmm.
unreliable narrators.
Yes, yes.
I'm just gonna throw that word in.
I know. We have
I'm
to.
like you in 2013.
Yes, like this new term I learned, guys. Yeah, it is. I loved I'll Be You. I really liked how she did the twin stuff was fun.
Yeah.
Even like the backstories of their childhoods. I am so sorry. I don't know why I'm yawning and hiccuping so much. Um, Probably related to asthma somehow. But I interviewed her about that one, and that
Okay.
that was pretty cool. I got to talk to her about that one. But the first one I read of hers is it Pretty Little Things or just Pretty Things? I think it's
Pretty
just Pretty
Little
Things.
Things. Pretty
That's still my
Things.
favorite of
It's
hers
so
ever.
good. It's my favorite of hers too.
I
It's
loved
so
that book
good.
so much. Like
So
talking
good.
about, I always say I tend to say chasing the high, chasing the dragon, all of it. I still
Mhm.
haven't like found one that like felt like that book did. Like I just
Because it's
loved it.
such a beautifully
Yeah,
written book. Like the prose in it, and
yeah,
just the way she puts words together, and like I like authors who have the alliteration, who like I
yes,
love that it's almost like a poetic version of a book, and I
yeah,
think Janelle does that better than almost anyone.
right. I agree. She does. She's very cool. I just got that
Yeah.
one on Netflix or not Netflix, NetGalley too.
The new one
The
or
new
this one?
one, the new one.
Oh yeah, I did
What
too.
is it
Yeah.
called again? Yeah,
Other This
I
Side
just
of
got that one.
Paradise, I think it's called.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what it is. The cover is very
Yeah.
fascinating. I'm very intrigued.
It's pretty. Yeah. Her covers are always though gangbuster.
Oh, I know. She does have great
Yeah.
covers.
Yeah, she does.
My next one, speaking of, I don't know how close it is to me. I don't think I have it over here. Um, had a special edition come out this year with sprayed pink edges.
Oh, I know
So
what
of
this
course I had
is.
to get it.
Of course.
But Local Woman Missing is my favorite of Mary Kubica's of all time. Um,
Yeah.
and it also fits the theme very well. Basically, this woman, Shelby Tebow, goes missing. And then another woman, Meredith, and her 6-year-old daughter vanish. Um, vanish around the same area that Shelby vanished from. And so then 11 years later, Delilah returns. The daughter returns, and everyone wants to know what happens to her. And it says, but no one is prepared for what they'll find. And this is one where that is all you want to know. But
Yep.
basically, it's like someone comes back after being gone for so long and shows up, and we try to figure out what happened. It's so good.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so well done. It was actually the first thriller I think that I read that had a main gay character in it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I think it was one
the
of the
lesbian couple,
first.
or was there
The
is there
lesbian
also a gay
couple.
man? Okay, I couldn't remember.
No, I think it's just the lesbian couple.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I thought that was it's such a well done book.
Mm-hmm.
And there's several Mary's books I haven't read,
Mm-hmm.
but the ones that I've read, I've enjoyed all of them. And
She's
I
so
am
talented.
she's very talented. And it's
Yeah.
interesting because I know nothing about her. Like I know absolutely nothing about her
Mm-hmm.
as an author or a
Yeah.
person.
I don't know
Yeah.
much either because she doesn't. I mean, I'm going to see her finally in conversation with
Oh,
Julie Clark.
that's
I
right.
can't remember if I said that
That's
while
gonna
we
be
were recording or
amazing.
not, but
Yeah. Well,
I,
Julie
I don't
should
know
be in
much
my
about her either. She's
Avengers
not
as well.
super public facing. Or, sorry, what'd you say?
Yeah. Julie is in my Avengers as well. I think
Yes.
she is. I'm obsessed with her.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with her as an author, as a person. Like I love everything about her.
The Lies I Tell.
Uh
That's my favorite of hers,
look,
and it also
and the last
inspired
flight.
our
It's
cover art.
really close. Oh, that's
When
cool.
Kieran and I had like the half of our faces and like
Yeah,
purple, it was somewhat
yeah.
from that book.
I love that.
Yeah, it's so good. She's amazing. They're all amazing.
Well, my last book is by, again, someone I don't hear people talk about a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
I read 4 5 books by her,
Mm-hmm.
and they've all been really good, super entertaining. But it's Darby Kane,
Oh
What the
yes.
Wife Knew. Um, this is, I just read this one. I started out with Pretty Little Wife, I think it's called. Is that
Mm-hmm.
what it's called? Yeah, Pretty Little Wife. Um, but this kind of takes on, so there's a, let's see what's in the blurb. I don't want to spoil anything.
I get that.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
That's how I
So
was.
her husband is like a hero from like this national tragedy that
Okay.
happens. And through the book, you kind of find out, was that really real? And he's like
Mm.
a very popular surgeon. He's used this notoriety to really build his career. And as she starts finding out things about her husband's past,
Mm-hmm.
therein comes What the Wife Knew, the title.
Yeah.
But I read the engagement party.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've read all of her books, and I think they're all 3.5, 4.5 stars.
I mean, Gare loved What the Wife Knew, and I haven't read it yet, but I've seen a lot of good reviews about that.
Yeah, I like it because it's easy to read, super fast chapters, and I like books that sometimes when I'm reading, because I read so much, I like to be able to just kind of relax my brain and not
Mm-hmm.
overthink and not focus on trying to solve the mystery or, and so
Right.
a lot of what she builds up is not a who done it or what happened. The suspense is what is happening as it happens. And I
Mm-hmm.
like those type of books. It gives
Mm-hmm.
me the ability to check my brain out and be like, okay, you don't have to solve this mystery. You don't have to, you know,
Right.
yeah, you don't have to know when the cult started, Brian.
Yes. And why and who.
And why, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I definitely need to read that one for sure. You've expanded my TBR, which is what always happens when I do these.
I love that. I love it. Isn't that what Bookstagram is for? Like,
Yes. All the time. Oh, it's the best. Well, I had a lot of fun. I am so
yeah,
glad
this
we
was a
got
really
to
good
do
time.
this.
Yeah, well, I've been a long time listener, first time caller.
I love that.
I love what you guys are doing over there, and I'm
Yeah.
super thankful that you had me on, and I'm always here to talk about books. So,
Yeah. We're going to have to have you
yeah.
back for some others.